Hi Eldemir, and welcome to my home. I wanted to talk a little bit today about how I strap my shields. First thing I want to talk about here is the center of balance on a shield, in particular on the center grip styles. So at the top here we've got a standard round shield. Now if you think about it, it's symmetric in all directions. So if we just break that out, that's going to put the center of gravity in the center like that. While on a heater shield, it's symmetric left to right, but not top to bottom. So the center of gravity is going to end up roughly where the area of the top equals the area on the bottom, which will be in here somewhere. And that's pretty easy to find on your shield. Now, why this is important, if you think of a flat shield like this, the weight of the shield is in line, so it's pulling down like that, but your wrist rotation is over here, and you can see there's a distance between these two, which will cause your shield to try and tilt forward. Now if you have a dished round or a curved one, now that mass is acting more through here, which is over your wrist. So that's going to make it less likely to table. So it's a pure choice between the two. Just be aware that this can affect how your shield is going to balance. So I said it's pretty easy to find out where that balance point is. So I know it's symmetric this way, so it's going to be in the middle. On here, it's how far down that balance point is going to be if I wanted to make this into a center grip. And just balance it. I mean, tweak it back and forth until you find where it's sitting, and now you know where it is. If you want to put it in the middle, and if you want it to tilt one way or the other, then you move your grip up or down. So doing a strapped heater is a little more complicated. What I'm looking for, my own philosophy on it, is I need to have my body in a position that's comfortable. The shield needs to be in its best protective position when I'm in that comfortable zone. If I'm not comfortable, I'm going to tend to move to where I am comfortable, and then that's going to move the shield out of position, and then I'm fighting with myself constantly bringing the shield back. So if I start in that comfortable position with the shield oriented on my arm to be in that defensive spot, then that's a whole lot less work for me to do when I'm on the list field. There's less things for me to worry about. So the first thing I do is I kind of relax myself into my basic stance, and I think, where does my arm want to be? Does it want to be here? Does it want to be here? Where is that comfortable spot? And for me, it's about here. Now, I then take my shield. Now this has already been strapped, so it already has the holes in it, but imagine a nice brand new blank. My hand's in its comfortable spot. Now where do I want the shield? Do I want it here? Do I want it here? And then I figure out roughly, okay, I want that to be here. And what I'm looking for is, I'm looking around that corner. If that point is headed towards my opponent, I can look over the corner, I can look around the corner, and then if I move the shield to block, I'm not blinded. If I bring it across, I'm not blinded. So it's a good position. So then what I do, I just gotta mentally think, okay, that's where my hand is on the inside of the shield. And then I mark that, and I would really recommend, if you have a brand new aluminum blank and you're figuring this out for the first time, make a wooden one, and then drill all the holes in the wooden one, and then you can throw that away rather than ruining your nice brand new aluminum one. But having figured out where I want my hand to be, I know I want it to be about there, and that gives me a location for my grip line. So we'll just put the bottom bolt here, not the top one, just the bottom one. Give that a little snug, so it's snug but not super tight. You want to be able to move the handle. So what I've got now is I've got just the bottom bolt in. And what I'm going to do is now I'm going to go back to my basic stance. I'm going to say, here's my arm, it's comfortable. Where's the shield? I'm going, well, that's too far point forward. that's a little flat. So that's about where I want it to be. And now I can take my Sharpie and I can mark where the top bolt goes. So the next thing you're going to have to figure out is where the strap goes. Now something you're going to have to pay attention to is how your grip works. So what I've got here is my hand holding something at 90 degrees. And you can see that my smaller fingers aren't holding it properly. Now if I go into a full grip, you can see I'm actually at about 60 degrees to the line of my arm. So you can't just take where your grip on your shield is and draw a 90-degree line from it, because it may not necessarily work for you. So you can figure out that angle and then transfer that to your shield. Okay, so now I've got my arm axis marked out on my shield. I know where my grip is. I need to figure out where the elbow strap goes, or the arm strap goes. Now, for me, I don't want to put that right up in my elbow. That's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to dig in. I like it a little bit further ahead. I wear my arm harness. Not every tournament you're in will allow you to swap out if you lose your sword arm, crown for example. So it's a good habit to be in to fight with your arm harness on already. That way it's nothing new for you when you're in a tournament and you find yourself in that situation. I use leather. You can use seatbelt webbing. You want to use something pretty tough. If you use just the standard belt, they're usually pretty decorative. They're cardboard inside, pretty flimsy, and they'll tear apart pretty quick. The other thing, if you're using a buckle style, again, I'd recommend that. That allows you to adjust if you change your arm harness or you're loaning your shields to somebody else. If you're using a buckle, put the buckle at the bottom. If you put the buckle at the top, your loose part of the strap is going to be flopping around, and it can be pretty distracting. What I like to do, put the arm harness on, put your arm on that axis, find a nice comfortable spot. Usually it's between the elbow cup and either the end of the vambrace or the buckle on the vambrace, and that gives you a nice solid lock for that strap so you're not sliding around too much. It's also less uncomfortable. If it's sitting right on top of a buckle, you can be wearing on you, and that can be painful sometimes. The other thing, hand protection. If you're not fighting with a gauntlet or you don't have an integrated basket, one of those welded up systems, I use hockey face masks. They're light, they're cheap, they're easy to get. Something I didn't mention at the beginning, when you're first placing your grip, make sure there's room for whatever basket you're using, because you don't want to end up with your basket off the edge of the shield. So make sure that's part of your placement from the get-go, and then I just bolt that on, and there's my hand protection. So thank you for joining me, and I hope this was helpful.